All right, everybody, we're here doing the gluten-free peach bread pudding. First thing we're going to do, as the recipe states, we're going to take a 2-inch hotel pan and take 2 ounces of solid margarine. And go ahead, you can start. And we're just going to take that 2-ounce block of solid margarine and just kind of rub it all around the pan. Make sure everything's kind of greased up. This is going to help release the bread pudding after it's baked. So you can see how Chef is just kind of rubbing the pan and it's leaving a little trail of margarine all the way around. Okay, if you got a chunk or two, like that chunk that's sitting there right there, that's fine. Just as long as the pan is coated, little additional chunks taking a nap on the bottom ain't gonna hurt nobody. So once you get it to that point, we're gonna take a piece of parchment paper, a full-size sheet, and we're gonna press it into the pan. And it's going to stick on that margarine, also assisting in the release later on. Then we're going to take and reserve that pan, put it somewhere else for right now. We're going to focus on our biscuit dough. So 2 parts to this recipe, a dry part and a wet part. In the dry part, we've already added the gluten-free flour, baking soda, baking powder, and brown sugar. So we're going to take and just mix up those dried, nope, just the dried really quick. There you go. We're going to take and mix that all together just to make sure everything is good with no lumps in it before we put the chocolate chips in. Otherwise we couldn't feel the lumps. So once that's nice and smooth and powdery, we're going to add the chocolate chips. There we go. Okay, add the chocolate chips to that batch. Huh? Oh yeah, but let's finish the dry first. Oh, the chocolate chips are going in the wet. My bad. Okay, so once we finish that, I'm sorry, the chocolate chips go in the liquid later on. So we have our dry mixture mixed. We're gonna blend in the butter next. My fault. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we're gonna take our butter, which is cubed. You can see it's kind of like in 1-ounce cubes. The trick to this is to make sure that we do not pulverize the butter. This is a biscuit dough, so it's gonna be nice and flaky if we have nice pieces of the butter, or the margarine rather. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the little clumps that we have, we're gonna scatter them across the flour, and if you watch Chef's fingers as he goes in, he's gonna basically grind this in between his forefinger and his thumb, his fingers and his thumb, and he's taking and kind of grinding it up so the butter's mixing, but he's not destroying it. And he's looking for long pieces of butter that will help absorb some of that flour. You do not want this mealy. Like sometimes when you make pie dough, you want it like the size of baby peas. You want it much larger than that, probably 3/4 inch, little tails, little strands of margarine kind of folded into that butter, or the margarine. So you can see he's just about there. Just want to make sure you had everybody to get a chance to get kind of mashed up a little bit. And again, this is going to make everything nice and flaky. So he's almost done there. Just want to show this whole video because this is something new for us. Okay, so keep on grinding. And he's got to the point now where all the grinds are pretty much uniform in shape. They're all somewhere around, I guess, about a 1/2 inch. Just little cubes. You can still see the whole pieces of margarine, so that's good. Okay, next we're going to focus on the wet mix. So the wet mix has the liquid eggs, it has granulated sugar, and it has brown sugar. So we've already taken those 3 and whisked them together. So right now, that wet mixture is ready to go into the dry mixture. Actually, no, it's not. The chocolate chips need to go in there. So we're going to add the white chocolate chips to the wet mixture. Chef's putting on his gloves real quick. There you go. Go ahead and finish your putting on your gloves so we can go straight to the mix, please. Okay, so the white chocolate chips just went into the wet mixture. Dry mixture's ready to go, waiting for the wet mix. We're going to toss just kind of gently fold the chocolate chips into the wet mix. And we're preparing the wet mix for the peaches. So we have 1 can of drained peaches. Make sure that they're completely drained. We don't want any of that liquid in there. Okay, once the chocolate chips are wet, we're gonna take our drained peaches, and we're gonna dump them into our wet mix. Okay, this is 1 can of drained peaches. Okay, let them sit in a colander so there's no juice whatsoever. And you can see how Chef is just kind of rolling these around, but he's breaking them just kind of randomly, squeezing them and breaking them so they're all about half size of what they started. So you don't have to do each one separately. If 1 or 2 end up being a little bit large in the mix, that's okay. But we do want to just randomly kind of try to get as much as we can without going one at a time. Okay, so take about a minute, get it in there. Once we get that, that's good. We're gonna take and make a well inside of the dry mix. Chef wants to break them up a little bit more. Okay, now we're gonna make a little well in the dry mix. Okay, little hole in the center. Now we're gonna take our peach mixture, the wet mixture. I'm sorry, first we're gonna take the buttermilk, my bad. So we have the buttermilk.
2 cups.
Yep. He's gonna measure out 2 cups of buttermilk, sorry. So we're gonna finish the dough. Wet mixture's made. Buttermilk's in. It's really important on this recipe that you have all your mise en place in front of you. You're not running back and forth. Okay, we're gonna take a spoon now. We took the time to make those margarine, you know, those bits of margarine large so they're not smashed up. We don't want to ruin that effort. So we're just going to take a small soup spoon, not grind this with our fingers, and we're going to mix this in so we have a nice consistency of a dough. Okay, this is finishing the dough. And you can see it's starting to stick together. It's starting to clump. It has those large pieces of butter in it. So we're just going to take our time and stir this up. Now this does give 18 portions per pan, so this should not be an everyday prep item. And we can make multiple pans at once if we need to. So a little bit time consuming on the prep end, but it'll be worth it at the end. It's a very good dessert. So mise en place is key with this recipe. So once we get it to the point where it's sticking, it's creating a nice moist dough, we're going to remove the spoon, and we're going to add the wet mixture to the dough. So Chef's going to put on 1 more pair of gloves, and we're going to finish this recipe. Peaches in the wet mixture, about halfway broken, you can see. And then the dough mixture has a nice consistency to it as well. So he's going to take and gently ball that up. And then we're going into the wet mixture. So he's breaking it up and sprinkling it into the wet mixture. Making sure we get everything out of that bowl. This is all the consistency to the recipe. Okay? We just want to gently kind of churn the dry mixture into the wet mixture and get everything so it starts to thicken. And then this is going to be the base of the bread pudding when it's baking. Okay, you can see it appears to be a little wet, but that's okay. As you mix in, it's going to get thicker. So you're just going to take your time and not beat the crap out of it, but fold it until it starts to get that consistency. And you can see it starting to pull together and get thicker. This will never be as thick as our other bread pudding at Harvey's if you've ever seen it. It is a thinner item because the less gluten in the dough. We made sure we got all of our dry into the wet, and now we're going to transfer all the wet into a hotel pan. Okay, so I'm not going to show this in its entirety. We all know how to do this. Scraping it out with a rubber spatula. You can see how it just kind of oozes out in the pan and fills the pan, kind of self-levels. All right, everybody, we're going to finish the pan of bread pudding with the cinnamon sugar. You can see this on the recipe card underneath the red line. So we're going to mix this separately. I forgot to bring it up earlier. But we're gonna mix it separately. It's a half cup of granulated sugar to a half ounce of cinnamon. So we've already pre-mixed that. I don't want to waste any time. Chef is over here and going to apply, and you can see, go ahead, it's kind of a light sprinkle. You just want to get it nice and even across the top of this bread pudding. Okay, so if you raise the deli container up a little bit, it'll kind of shower a little bit more even than going low. But you just want this to be, you know, nice even. It's not going to be perfect, but you want every taste, every square to be good. This is going to be cut in 18 squares, 6 by 3. So you can see how Chef is going along the edges and just making sure you're utilizing the entire half cup of sugar and cinnamon mixture. So there you go. Nice and even coat. From this point, we're going to take and saran wrap it in aluminum foil, place it in the water bath, and put it in the oven. Thank you. All right, everybody, we're getting ready to plate the gluten-free bread pudding. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a nice chilled plate. You can see how we portion all the bread puddings. The pan of bread pudding, that 2-inch pan that we made, will yield 18 portions. So we take the pan, we cut it 6 by 3 to create 18 cubes. Now each cube goes into an 8-ounce soup container, deli container. Put the lid on it, you can stack them up on line. Okay, so it's order in gluten-free bread pudding. We're gonna take the 8-ounce container, remove the lid, microwave it for 1 minute. Then we're gonna take the container, and this will also work for to-go orders. We just heat the container and sell the to-go order inside that container. So ordering in bread pudding. We're gonna take the gluten-free peach bread pudding, we're gonna dump it over in a bowl. This is warm now. We're gonna release it into the bowl so it's nice round shape, or somewhat round. We're gonna take 1 scoop of ice cream.
All right, order in, you got a black cat and 2 shrimp skewers.
Sorry about the order in the background. We're gonna take 1 scoop of ice cream, and we're gonna put it right on top of the bread pudding. Okay, there you go. And then we're gonna finish this with caramel sauce. So we're looking for 2 ounces, but we're just gonna make a little drizzly line like we do. And there we go. We're gonna sell that. That is the gluten-free peach bread pudding. Please call me with any questions. Thank you.